Saint Valentine, feast day 14th February, patronage lovers. Two people can be there to whom the person Saint Valentine is referring to. It could be a Roman priest and doctor who was martyred in 261. It could be the Bishop of Terni, who was also martyred. And the book ends in a section with saying then that his true message was that martyrdom is the highest form of love. Now the festival on St. Valentine's Day, which some lovers are doing with sending cards, maybe unsigned without a name on it, or gifting gifts or something, they can't be dated back until St. Valentine's, but until the 14th century. Geoffrey Chaucer mentioned it. Two ideas are here mentioned where this festival comes from. It could be that it comes from where birds are pairing off on the 14th February, written like that, whatever that means. And the other idea is the Roman Lupercalia festival, on which lovers are chosen by lot, expressed like that here. And there is the Carmelite Whitefriar Street Church of Dublin and in the Gorbal area of Glasgow in Scotland a church, who are both saying that they're having relics of St. Valentine. The book says that it can't be determined who of the two has them actually. That is according to Malcolm Day's The Treasury of Saints book on the page 44, but the positions and views expressed here are the ones of the source and don't necessarily align with my own or with the ones of the entities spoken of. Hi Rebecca, I'm trying to learn Biographyology. Today St. Valentine, and after we've done that we're going to do leg injury prevention training. And if you participate in the leg injury prevention training, that is plenty of this. St. Valentine, he died in the year 261. The feast day is the 14th February. Symbols and art are the rosebush, birds, heart pierced by arrow, and patronage of lovers. Paintings, Jacopo Bassano, St. Valentine's baptizing St. Lucilla, and the profile in short, early Roman martyr who unwittingly gave rise to a festival of lovers. Okay, he was a martyr, and symbols and art are rosebush, birds, and a heart pierced by an arrow. So let's read the text. There are two possible figures behind this name. One was a Roman priest and doctor who was martyred in 261. The other was a bishop of Terni, also a martyr, whose relics were later transported to Rome. However, it is unlikely that either of these churchmen were responsible for the tradition of St. Valentine's Day of courting lovers. Okay, so they're saying there are two people who could be this St. Valentine. Maybe someone was not exactly another name or something. Who is who? Okay, two people could it be, and both were killed for or murdered for their faith. So, but here's not written now. Here is said that they had not initiated what some people are celebrating on St. Valentine's Day, with courting lovers. St. Valentine's Day as a lovers' festival dates at least to the 14th century. The medieval English writer Geoffrey Chaucer knew it. So Geoffrey Chaucer wrote around the 14th century, I don't know exactly when he lived, about St. Valentine. So at least from that time, from 14th century on, St. Valentine was known about, and that it was in connection with a festival for lovers. The idea that on this day people find their partner seems to be based on the belief that birds pair off on February 14th. I don't really know what they mean, because what I understand is that they're saying that birds are pairing off exactly on February 14th. Now we're doing a few parts of ornithology, and it seems to be something usual in February that the birds are doing there some things when they're having their eggs, but I don't think it's specifically the 14th, so I don't know what they mean, and if they mean birds in wildlife or in captivity. So I don't really understand if they mean what they say here. They're saying it could have something to do with birds. A further possible basis for the tradition is the Roman Lupercalia festival, celebrated in mid-February, when partners were chosen by lot. I don't know what in this case by lot means. Does it mean by chance? Or en masse? Okay, this may also explain the tradition of anonymity that is associated with the modern custom of writing cards and messages of love unsigned. Okay, so two possible reasons, they say. The first one is about something with birds. And the second one is that there's the Roman Lupercalia festival in a bit. On that part, a lot of people had got chosen their partners for them, as it seems from the text. And that seems to be that they don't know who's going to be their partner. Could have something to do with that. On St. Valentine, some people are writing cards to another person without putting their name on it. Whatever the real historical background, there is no connection between ancient Roman Martyrus and the huge commercial orgy of scent and sentiment that characterizes today's celebration for expectant lovers around the world. So they are saying, dating back to St. Valentine's, who of these two it is? No, there is no connection being found from them to the St. Valentine's Day, and especially not that some people are spending a lot of money around it, or that there is big commercializing around it. Rival reliquaries. Since 1835, the Carmelite Whitefriar Street Church in Dublin has claimed to possess the relics of St. Valentine. But there is also a shrine to him at the Gorbals area of Glasgow in Scotland. The Friars of St. Francis Church say that St. Valentine's remains have been kept there in a wooden casket ever since 1868, when a French owner of various religious memorabilia handed them over to the friars for safekeeping. Okay, there's a church in Dublin and another one in Glasgow in Scotland. So one Dublin in Ireland and one in Glasgow in Scotland. And both are saying that they are having the relics of the one St. Valentine. While there is no way of establishing whether the Irish or the Scots are the true owners of the saint's bones, it is hoped in both camps that the real message of St. Valentine's Day will not be lost, namely that martyrdom is the highest form of love. Okay, here stated in that book that it can't be found out who has actually the bones. Here in the book is stated that it is not. But both churches are trying to say the real message of St. Valentine, and that is not commercializing something, or also not about the festival of lovers, but rather that martyrdom is the highest form of love. So above to the pictures written, there is much doubt about who the real St. Valentine was. He may have been the 3rd century bishop of Terni, seen here on the picturized, baptizing a new member into the faith for which a priest sacrificed his life. Okay, we have read what's written here to St. Valentine. We will come back at some later time again to St. Valentine. We're going to read it again, and then, having already more or less the information back in mind what we're telling here, we try then to make a little presentation about of St. Valentine and try to say what is written here about St. Valentine. If you stay here, if you go to the next part where we will do it, of Biographyology, if you stay here and participate in the leg injury prevention training, then it's better to always have a good standing leg and swing the other leg front and to the side. And the other foot in front and to the side. And then the foot in front and back. And the other one in front and back. And then one leg up and the hands out, over cross. And change. And again, and down. Other leg up, middle or across, middle and down. One leg up to the outside, middle and down. Other leg up to the outside, middle and down. One leg to the side and lift it off the ground and place it again onto the ground. Other leg. One hand on tummy, one on lower back, and lift one leg in a straight line up. Try to bring the leg higher and pull the toes in. And pull the leg up. Other side. One hand on tummy, one on lower back, and lift the leg up. And one down. Stand good on one leg, turn over to the leg, down onto the knee, out to the other side. Change the leg, over to the leg, down, over, and up. And stand good on one leg, and reach always with the heel of the other leg to imaginary 90-minute intervals on an imaginary dial of a clock. And the other leg, 12 o'clock, 1:30 and 3, 10:30 and 9 o'clock, 8:30, 10:30, 6 o'clock, 4:30 and 3 o'clock. And one leg up and down. The other one. And one heel to the ground, don't do it if you're pregnant. Lift the heel off the ground, place it again onto the ground. Other heel. And the toes are pointed to the outside. Breathe in the arms up. Breathe out and sink down. Hands onto the ground. Come with the back up and roll slowly upwards and return the backward shoulder down. Another time. Arms up. Sink down. Hands onto the ground. Come with the back up. Roll slowly with the round back up. And return the backwards shoulder down. And now, have a good standing leg. One leg up, hands to sides. And down front and the leg up and down. And again. Now pull the knee in and out. And back into the middle. And now with the other leg. Leg back. And again. And pull the knee in and out. And the legs are pointed to the outside, put your finger down. And out. In and up. Breathe in and cross the legs. And again. It was leg injury prevention training. I thank you very much.